Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Political Ray. Hope everybody had a good day yesterday. It was Liberation Day, according to President Trump, where the reciprocal tariffs have taken place upon a bunch of countries. We'll get into that. Um, we've got a man that was arrested by ICE, well, not by ICE. He was arrested by federal law enforcement for making threats against ICE for simply just doing their job. Like to see it. I do. I'm not gonna lie about it. We've got Maine making the news again. The Department of Agriculture has come out and said that they have cut off funding to Maine, um, because up, they're not, they're in violation of the Title IX and the executive order that President Trump has put forth as far as men and women's sports. I think that this is a good thing. I don't think women should be having to face men in their own sports. I've talked about this at length. So we've got that. And let's see, we got what else we got here. We got Jasmine Crockett making news again. She's clapped back against Pam Bondi, who made yet another appearance on Fox News. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't like the fact that she's just throwing her face up on Fox News every day instead of actually doing what I want her to do. There's been a lot of criticism on her about this, and we'll get into that as well. And I think that's about it. Let's go ahead and just get into it here. Let's see. Shrink myself down here, and we'll get into this. This is from the Yahoo News, and we'll take a look at this now. This is from Fox News. Man charged with making threats against ICE agents, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, in alarming social media posts. Now, real quick, before I get into this, I do have to say I have to make an apology to Health 613 who followed me yesterday. I said I thought the username was Heath. I apologize for that. It's actually Health 613. But that being said, we'll get into this. Let's see. Okay, so we got a picture of the guy who was arrested by federal law enforcement, and because of the fact that he was making social media posts telling people to commit acts of violence against ICE officers who were simply doing their job. Now, a Texas man was recently arrested after authorities say he made terroristic threats against U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents and Department of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. Let's see. Robert King allegedly made alarming social media posts, according to a statement from Homeland Security Investigations, Dallas. One post noted his intention is to open fire if agents are seen in his neighborhood, according to the statement. This this comes back a lot. The f around and find out things flying around the internet all over the place. This is a prime example of that. You cannot call for active calls of violence against, especially federal law enforcement officers. These people have families. They're doing their job. They want to go home to their families. It's the same thing when these raids are getting leaked and everything else. There needs to be accountability. Same thing with the Tesla ownerships. People keying and vandalizing personal property. Accountability until it starts happening, and it is. This guy's been arrested. He's facing charges, and good. It needs to happen. This kind of stuff has to stop. I mean, that's all there is to it. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Fox News learned some of the alleged posts, including comments related to Noem and others claiming ICE agents are not real cops and have no real authority. This is not true. For somebody to actually think this, I don't know what kind of brainwashing you've had, but ICE agents are federal law enforcement. That's it. Anyway, excuse me. HSI Dallas shared a photo Wednesday of King standing in handcuffs next to a number of federal agents in the city of McKinney. Like Secretary Noem said, if you threaten or attempt to harm law enforcement officer, we will find you and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. Promises made, promises kept. A senior Department of Homeland Security DHS official told Fox Digital following the arrest. Good. Again, good. These people need to be held accountable. Actions have consequences. You're an adult. Act like it. It's the same thing. I mean, there was this huge story about an 18-year-old who took part of, domestic terrorism, because that's what it is, against the Tesla dealership, vandalism and destruction of property, and she's facing a lot of charges. It sucks. She's only 18 years old. It sucks, but you know what? You're an adult. Actions have consequences, and they want to lower the voting age to 16. Mm-mm. Anyway, arrest comes after more than 40 people were taken into custody in Texas as part of a TDA gang investigation. Let's see, the FBI, ICE, the San Antonio Police Department, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and several other federal, state, and local partners spent a year investigating members and associates believed to be part of the Venezuelan transnational gang. Good. Again, like I said, I'm okay. I don't want these people in our country. I've said this at length. I'll say it again. I'll say it many times it has to be said. These people should not be in our country. They're violent. They commit horrendous acts of violence, not to mention other terrible things, and they shouldn't be here. I don't want my kids having to walk down the street and have the possibility of running into one of these people. I don't want it. Anyway, let's see. More than 40 people, including minors, were taken into custody at or near the home, and narcotics were. Wait, what are we talking about here? I think I went too far. Let's see. Early Tuesday morning, the Hays County Sheriff Office and DPS, working with the FBI, ICE, HSI, and enforcement removal operations, obtained a search warrant for a home in Hays County, which was executed by DPS Special Response Team. More than 40 people. I just read that one. An ICE spokesperson told Fox News 47 illegal immigrants were apprehended. Good. Send them back. Anyway, out of those 47 people, 25 were adult men, 9 were single adult women, 4 were adult mothers, and 9 were non-citizen children, according to the spokesperson. They were all taken into Austin resident office for processing. Everyone whom ICE arrested was found to be illegally present in the U.S. and taken into ICE custody, pending immigration proceedings, according to the spokesperson. Now, it sucks that there's kids involved in this kind of stuff. It shouldn't happen. But unfortunately, in a lot of these cases, these kids are held as like shields and everything else to protect the people that are actually doing harm and everything else. And it sucks. It breaks my heart every time I hear about kids being involved in one of these stories. It's never good. I'm not a fan of that. I don't. But these people are evil, and they will use children as shields for however they see fit, whether it be against gunfire or prosecution. That's the whole anchor babies thing. I'm not a fan of that. I think that should go away, and it has. So, anyway. The State Department has designated TDA as foreign terrorists, rightfully so. Let's see. The Alien Enemy Act, we know all that. Okay, so again, I will stress, I'm not. The kids thing sucks, but I don't want these people in our country. I don't want them in our neighborhoods, especially with my kids and everything. I don't want it. Send them packing. Anyway, I'm glad that there's being accountability being held on people who are. I mean, look, I've said this before too. If you're somebody who's actively advocating for people like this to stay within the United States, you're not a good person. These people are horrendous people. They're evil. And if you're advocating to keep them within the United States, you've got bigger problems and you need to work on yourself. Anyway, Maine is making news again. Whew, this is getting bad. This is going to end very, very badly for Maine. I'm just saying, you can disagree with me, but I don't see this going well for Maine. This is let's see this is from the Post Millennial, I believe. Yep, Post Millennial. The U.S. Department of Agriculture announces on Wednesday that it has frozen federal funds to Maine over the state's refusal to comply with President Trump's executive order barring biological males from female sports. Good. I was waiting for something like this to happen with Maine. The fact that, what's her name, Janet Mills, has just completely said, screw you, we're not going to abide by this. Anybody, look, I'm for protecting women, especially in their spaces. I'm just saying that women's sports was brought about for a reason. You can disagree with me all you want, but men are stronger, faster, physically better than women. There's a lot of strong women out there that can do a lot of things that men can't do. I'm not I'm not taking anything away from women, but the fact of the matter is that men should not compete against women in their own sports. I'm all for protecting women and keeping men out of their sports. That's all it boils down to. Again, I will say, volleyball player who was partially paralyzed because of a male competing against her and spiked the ball directly into her face. The women's basketball team who had 3 or 4, I can't remember exactly, 3 or 4 players that got hurt, ended up having to forfeit the big game just because of one male on the opposing team. The women's national champion soccer team losing to a 12 under boys team. It's just, you can argue with me all you want, but the facts state, they speak for themselves. Anyway, let's see. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins sent a letter to Maine Governor Janet Mills announcing the pause, writing, "You cannot openly violate federal law against discrimination in education and accept federal funding to continue unabated. Your defiance of federal law has cost your state, which is bound by Title IX in educational programming." Now, Janet Mills has come out a couple times and said, "Look, we adhere to the state law, which allows us to, have biological men within women's sports." Okay, fine. You're going to lose your federal funding. Done. Again, I'll say it again. I don't think that men should be in women's sports. You want to play these silly games, you're gonna win the silly prizes. Anyway, let's see. Rollins said that the funding for certain administrative and technology functions in schools was affected by the freeze. This pause does not impact federal feeding programs or direct assistance to Mainers. If a child was fed today, they will be fed tomorrow, she noted. That's good. I'm fine with that. Don't, you should, people shouldn't be punished just because their governor's a retard. And I can say that. They might have to take me off of YouTube, but I don't care. Anyway. Uh Rollins told Mills that the freeze announced Wednesday was only the beginning, though you are free to end it at any time by protecting women and girls in compliance with federal law. Yes, she can end it any time she wants to. Maine, where's the constituents at? Send letters, make phone calls, tell Janet that she's jacking this crap up. She's got to stop. Make your voice heard. In addition to the funding freeze, Rollins said that the department is reviewing all research and education related funding in Maine for compliance with the Constitution, federal laws, including Title IX that's Title VI and Title IX, and the priorities of the Trump administration, and said that the USDA has undertaken a review of all grants given out by the Biden administration to the Maine Department of Education. Let's see what else we got. Rollins said that in order to continue receiving funding from the USA, the state must demonstrate compliance with Title IX's protection of female student athletes from having to compete with or against or having to appear unclothed before males. Let me ask you something. That's the very end there is a very, very good point. How is it, parents especially, how is it that you're okay with having a biological male within the female locker rooms where these girls get changed? In a lot of cases, they shower after games. All that stuff. Well, how are you okay with that? As a parent, if my child was being forced to be in a locker room with a biological male, I would lose my crap. And a lot of parents have. Again, I'll stress, people in Maine talk, send letters, make phone calls, tell Janet Mills to knock this crap off. It's got to stop. Look, and I don't feel sorry for Janet Mills. She's F around and find out, I guess. Like I said before, it's just, we'll take a look at this because this is interesting too. And this is just some stuff. This is also from the Post Millennial. This is, women and good on this girl. This kind of stuff makes me happy. Making a stand, because if your parents won't do it, then you need to do it. Hopefully her parents encouraged her to do this. That's my hope. That's, we need to see more of this. This is happening more and more often, and I'm happy to see it because, you know, if parents aren't going to stand up for it, then the girls who are being forced to participate in sports against biological men, they have to make the stand. And we are, like I said, we are seeing a lot more of this. It makes me happy. But anyway, we'll take a look at this. This is also from the Post Millennial again. Let's see. Over the weekend, a female fencer took a knee at a competition during a match against a transgender opponent, resulting in the female student receiving a black card and being kicked out. This is wild because she's taking a stand saying that I will not compete against a man. She gets thrown out of the competition. Make it make sense to me. Anyway, the Independent Council on Women's Sports wrote that the female opponent of trans-identified male fencer Redmond Sullivan was expelled from a USA fencing event that took place at the University of Maryland. The two fencers are seen setting up to compete, and the female fencer immediately takes a knee. The Cherry Blossom D1A Veteran Regional Open Circuit took place on March 30th, with Sullivan winning 2 of 6 bouts. Look, it shouldn't be happening, and I'm glad that she took a stand. Let's take a look at this is a quick video for it here. We'll take a look. Guessing that's them saying, whatever, for the match. We're getting set up. She takes a knee. Good on her. Good for you. She drops her stuff. Look at the male. The dude's like, what? What are you doing? Look at this guy. This is one of the officials, I imagine. They have a little exchange. You can't hear anything. Let's get forward a little here. The official's coming back over and he's going to throw her out. Black card. I don't know a lot about fencing. And she walks off. Look, I'll be straight. I know literally nothing about fencing. Not a thing. But I imagine, from what I understand, the black card means that she's disqualified, and then she walks off. Okay. Good for her. I applaud her. She took a stand. I hope it's her parents that encouraged her to do this. If not, she did it all on her own, which either way, I'm glad for. There's no reason for this. They got, and especially look, the trans female, the dude that was competing against her just last year was competing in the men's division. Just last year. I would imagine, no, I'm not sure. I don't know. But I can imagine that this guy was mediocre at best. Decided he's going to go ahead and transition to a female, compete against them, and then just, dominate. Because that's in most cases, that's how it goes. In a lot of these cases, it's an average athlete on the men's team decides to transition to a female and then just completely dominates the women's league. In most cases, that's how it goes. If you're someone who encourages this, then you've got problems as well. Look, it wasn't too long ago that people with transgenderism, it was a mental I'm searching for the word, I can't think of it. Disorder. That was it. It was a mental disorder. Not too long ago, just a few years back. It was considered a mental disorder, and people went to counseling or whatever they did, but it was a mental disorder. It's not something that we should be encouraging. And if you are, you I mean, again, I don't believe that this should be happening. Women are not boys, boys are not women. You can't change biology. That's all there is to it. You can tell me otherwise, but I doubt you're going to change my mind on this. But anyway, Sullivan was seen walking over to the female and exchanging inaudible words before walking back to the other side of the mat. The referee later returned, pulled out the card, and the female fencer left the mat. Like I said, I had imagined the little black card means that she was disqualified, and she walks off. USA Fencing states that it is it is committed to ensuring athletes have the opportunity to participate in USA Fencing sanctioned events on a fair, inclusive, and safe basis without discrimination. It's not safe for the females. Again, I'll stress, men competing against females is not safe. That's it. So, contradictory to their statement, they're putting females at risk when they allow men to compete against them. And not to mention that it takes away, I mean, what if this woman, I don't know if this is a college or a high school team, but what if she's looking to get a scholarship? Even if she's already in college, look, soccer players, basketball players, what if they're looking for a scholarship? This college has one scholarship to give, and they give it to this boy who thinks he's a girl. They give that scholarship to him over the girl who's worked very, very hard to try and get that scholarship, but she doesn't get it because this man decided that he was a woman and competes at a higher level than she does. So he gets that scholarship over her. Tell me how that's fair. Because he was an average athlete on the men's team. So he decides to go to the women's team. Now he's stolen a scholarship away from somebody who's worked hard to get that. It's not fair. It's not fair to women. It's dangerous for women. It shouldn't be happening. Anyway, Title IX exists for a reason. So let's see what else we got here from the post millennial. Within our divisions, USA Fencing will not discriminate on the basis of gender identity, regardless of sex assigned at birth or any other form of gender expression for participation in any division. As such, athletes will be permitted to participate in USA Fencing sanctioned events in a manner consistent with their gender identity/expression, regardless of the gender associated with the sex they were assigned at birth. That's just them placating, and that's them, adhering to the woke crap that's happening in the world today. That's it. They could care less. They just don't want. It's what, the 4% of the loudest people in the U.S. They don't want to be ostracized by that very small percentage of people. That's why they do this crap. For the junior, senior, and veteran-facing age divisions, USA Fencing states that the trans-identified males being treated with testosterone suppression medication for the purpose of USA Fencing sanctioned competitions may continue to compete in men's events, but may only compete in women's events after completing 1 calendar year, 12 months, of testosterone suppression treatment. Proof of complaint, hormone therapy, must be provided prior to the competition. So, they're saying that as long as this boy goes through with, the suppression of hormones, namely testosterone, then they're okay with them. It doesn't matter how much their testosterone goes down. Is that what I'm getting from that? Just as long as they are taking these suppressions, then they can compete against women. Even if their testosterone goes down like what, 1-2 points, it's still a huge advantage over the women. I don't understand this. I think they're placating to the woke crowd because they don't want to be ostracized by that small percentage. The female fencer who was celebrated on social media, rightfully so, with journalist Megyn Kelly writing heroine. Former University of Kentucky swimmer Riley Gaines wrote, "Women should boycott any event, game, match against men. This is the way." Yes, I agree. Completely 100%. If there's a a man, a boy, on the other team, and you're part of this women's team that's having this being forced to compete against that boy, make a stand. Don't compete. Yeah, you may forfeit the game. That sucks. Game, match, whatever you're doing, volleyball, fencing, basketball, whatever the case may be, baseball, softball, rather. Make a stand. Tell tell these, you know, tell these people that are allowing this crap to happen that this will not be tolerated and that you're not going to get. Look, as a parent, again, I'm not going to have my girls be put in a risky situation where they could get hurt or worse. I'm not going to do it. Anyway, let's see. Icons women. Female fencer takes a knee in bout against male opponent, faces immediate disqualification. I wouldn't say it was immediate. The little ref guy or whatever they call him went over to this little table over there, and then he came back like a few minutes later. Let's see. Anyway, that's besides the point. Former tennis player Martina, I'm not even going to pronounce that. I'm going to butcher it. But anyway, this is what happens when female athletes protest. Anyone here still thinks this is fair? Thinks this is fair. I am fuming, and shame on the USA fencing. Shame on you for doing this. How dare you throw women under the gender BS bus? I agree. This is what happens when female athletes protest. Anyone here still thinks this is? Oh, I just read that. Anyway, let's see. Per Redux, Sullivan in December won gold at the Connecticut Division Junior Olympic qualifier. Sullivan previously competed on the men's fencing team at Wagner College, and in November saw wins at the Northeast Fencing Conference varsity meet, as well as the Seahawks Invitational in December. So look, again, this just proves my point. He won the gold. Again, I'm just saying, average athlete on the men's team didn't like it, so he decided he's going to go ahead and transition to a female and just wipe the floor with all these girls. That's, again, it happened. This is why it happens. An average athlete on the men's team, I can't stress it enough, doesn't like that he's not winning, so goes and competes against females and just wipes the floor with them. Then he takes home the gold. He's happy as can be. Shouldn't be happening. Again, I'm glad that I'm seeing more and more of these where the females are actually standing up and saying, "This, I'm not doing this." It makes me happy. Yeah, it sucks that they have to forfeit. Sucks that she got thrown out just because she decided that she wasn't going to compete against a boy. Again, it sucks. A lot of these women athletes, they work hard. Harder than a lot of the male athletes that I know. They work hard because they want to be good. They want to go to college. They want these scholarships, what have you. They work hard. And for a male to come into their space and just take everything away from them that they've worked hard for is wrong. Shouldn't be happening. And I'm glad to see that the girls are standing up for themselves. Again, it sucks because she got disqualified and he ended up taking the gold anyway. It sucks. But the more that these women stand up against this, hopefully people's eyes will start to open and say, look, we need to change this. That's my hope, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully that'll happen. We'll go ahead and move on to Jasmine Crockett here. She's making news again. In the House or, I don't even know. In Congress. Okay, I'm drawing a blank on whether she was actually a senator or a House representative. I'm drawing a blank. I don't know why, but anyway, she's making headlines again, saying coming out against Pam Bondi. Now, again, I will stress, I am not happy with how Pam Bondi has been doing, coming on Fox News every single night and spewing her opinions. I don't care. I want to see action. Actions speak louder than words. It's a true statement, and that's what I want to see. Her coming on Fox News and just, saying her talking points. I'm tired of seeing her on the news. I am. I want to see action, not words. I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks this, but we'll take a look at Jasmine Crockett here saying, because she's saying that Pam Bondi made a threat against her, and we'll look at that video as well. But we'll take a look at this first.
To have the sitting attorney general go on, and I'm gonna call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me.
Look, I'm just going to point this out real quick. She says that Fox News is fake news. All of it is. All of it. Fox News, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, Reuters. It's all crap. That's why you got the Rumble lineup from 9 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's why they've got the number one shows in those time slots every single hour on the hour. They're having the number one shows because people don't watch news anymore. They don't watch the mainstream media. I know I'm digressing, but I'm just trying to make a point here. It's all fake. Nobody should watch mainstream news anymore. I do, because I can see the loopholes. That's probably the bad word. I can see the fakeness that they're pushing, and I don't, because I watch a lot of alternative media. I watch mainstream media. I mean, I don't think anybody should trust anything that the mainstream, including Fox. Nobody should trust what the mainstream media is pushing out. That's just what I think. I mean, and I'm here every morning starting at 7:30 Eastern, and you can watch me right ahead of the lineup starting at 9 o'clock. That's why I do it early, because I don't have a big following, but hey, maybe somebody will check me out just ahead of the lineup. So, but anyway, we'll get back to this.
To have her go on Fox News and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information, and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing.
And look, let me point out the fact that she says, I want to exercise my right, which she's not. She has the right to free speech. She has the right to do that. I'm not saying that that's not the case. What I'm saying is in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, she actively called for people to take action against Elon and Tesla. You can argue against the fact, but that's what most people took what she said. She straight up said, take Elon down for her birthday. A lot of people saw that video. Most people saw that video. It comes across as her saying, look, we need to take action. What does action mean? She came out a little later and, said that that's not what she meant, but we all know what she meant. Anyway.
That she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm going to say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook, because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government.
I'm just going to pause it here for one. Okay. Other dealerships aren't being vandalized and being actively targeted by domestic terrorism. Other dealerships aren't having to deal with this crap. It's only Elon and Tesla dealerships that are having to deal with this because of the rhetoric from the left. She wants to come out here and grandstand and talk about, oh, Elon's getting federal protection from these law enforcement agencies. You guys are actively calling for violence against Tesla dealerships. Where's I have not seen one single person in the Democratic Party come out against and say, look, this should not be happening. We need to take the temperature down. We need to stop these acts of violence against Tesla dealerships, against Tesla owners, what have you. Not one single person have I seen come out against it. Let me know if you've seen it. I'd love to see it. I will praise that Democrat every which way to Sunday. I've not seen one. Again, comment below. Shoot me a video. let me know. If you've seen somebody come out against these attacks, let me know, because I haven't seen it. And she wants to talk about him getting special treatment, blah, blah, blah. No other dealerships are getting attacked. If other dealerships were getting attacked, I'm sure they'd get the same treatment. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am.
That is somebody that is operating above the law.
No, he's not.
For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here.
Let me ask, this is a genuine question. Honest question. Tell me what's wrong with Elon Musk finding fraud, corruption within the federal government. I'll wait. What's wrong with it? I for one, am happy that he is finding corruption and fraud and weeding out these. Look, a lot of these, USAID was a prime example. All the waste and fraud that was found within that department going to other countries for all kinds of crazy crap. In a lot of cases, they found kickbacks to NGOs, which in turn, funneled money back to, Democrats in a lot of cases. That's just what I mean. Look, I don't have any evidence to support this. This is just what I've read throughout the World Wide Webs. But again, I'll stress, I'm not sad to see that these departments who have been found with all kinds of wasteful spending of our taxpayer dollars, mind you, I'm not sad to see them go away. Again, I'll stress the question. What is wrong with Elon Musk finding the corruption within the federal government? Who else is going to do it? Jasmine Crockett? You think Jasmine Crockett's going to find this? What's her net worth? $9 million? I can't tell you that for sure. I'm pretty sure it's $9 million. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's $9 million. I think I read that. $9 million. Her salary is what? $175,000 a year? She's worth $9 million. She's got 3 homes. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of Bernie. Bernie's got 3 homes. I know that. Where do they get this extra money from? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that there's some shady crap going on. And I'm fine with Elon finding the corruption. Again, one more time. What is wrong with Elon finding corruption within the federal government?
Here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like
Look, she said that in a video after the fact. A video that she said, consult your lawyers, make sure that what you're doing is legal. She said that after the video that she put out saying that on her birthday, she wants Elon to be taken down.
I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law.
Look, I'm just saying, if you've received a letter from the DOJ, you've probably been found in some shady stuff. This DOJ is not messing around. This is what people voted for. They wanted the corruption. They wanted the wasteful spending. They wanted it to stop. The federal government is massive at this point. I have always been of the opinion that we need a smaller government, less taxes, more of the people's, the government. It's been said around for a very long time. People should not be afraid of their government. Government should be afraid of its people. This is what's happening. These people are losing their minds because of the fact that all this corruption and fraud is coming to the forefront, and people are seeing it with their own eyes. And now they're scared to death of losing their cash cow or whatever have you. The corruption within the government is being found out, and they are scared to death. Anyway, go ahead and I'll show you this video. This is the video that she is talking about. This is Pam Bondi on Fox News again, and I'll stress this again. I am not a fan of her going on Fox News every single night. I'm not a fan of it. I want her to do her job in not taking interviews on Fox News, spewing her talking points on I don't care. I want to see actions taken. I don't want to see you on Fox News every night. Anyway, take a look. This is what she said about Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, Sean, it is. And you know, after she said that about Elon, she said, well, I didn't mean violence. But, however, your words have consequences.
Yes.
And what happened after she said that about Elon Musk, she's a Texan in her own home state. After she said that, this morning, 3 explosive devices were found in Austin, Texas. So she needs to unequivocally denounce the violence. She must apologize immediately, not only to all Texans, but to our country, to the American shareholders of Tesla, because she is promoting violence. And then you showed the clip of what she said about Senator Cruz. I believe she probably will be censured by Congress for saying that. You know,
look, I'm just going to say one thing. I didn't see the clip of what she said about Senator Cruz. I didn't see it. That being said, the whole censure thing, it doesn't do anything. They did this to Al Green for, him intentionally. You can say what you want, but it was intentional. He intended to get thrown out of that State of the Union, not State of the Union address from President Trump. He intended to get thrown out. And then they tried to censure him, and then what? The Democrats came down to the pool, as they call it. I think the well. They call it the well. Democrats came down there and started singing when Al Green was supposed to be getting censured. A censure doesn't do anything. It's a public humiliation, as it were. That's it. What does that do? Again, honest question. Doesn't do anything. Spider. Ooh, scary. Anyway, so a censure doesn't do anything. I don't think, it's stupid. A censure doesn't do anything. Whatever. Consequences to people's actions. That's what I want to see. A censure doesn't do anything. I could care less about her being censured. Whatever. I guess maybe a public humiliation is something that she doesn't want to happen. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I think I've made my piece on that. Censures are stupid. I think whatever.
people don't learn. She's using her public persona, her public platform to increase her followers, to increase her significance, and she is threatening lives, safety. You know, when she did this at Tesla, Sean, people's lives are in danger. This is America. We're in a free country. And she's yet encouraging this violence in our country. Think of all the lives that could have been jeopardized in Texas just today by her words and what she's done. But she didn't stop with that. She continued on with Senator Cruz. She has to apologize immediately and denounce the violence.
I don't care about her apologizing. I don't. She is who she is. She's a Democrat shill, and she's going to do what she does. I don't care if she apologizes or not. I think that she should denounce all the violence, just like every other Democrat, as I've said. I haven't seen it. Again, let me know. I've not seen one Democrat come out against this violence, against Tesla owners, Tesla dealerships, charging stations, Elon Musk, whatever the case may be. They because they can't. They are so scared of losing that base. Look at what happened to dang it, now I forgot the guy's name. Chuck Schumer. Yeah. Live show, guys. Anyway, Chuck Schumer. Look at what happened to that guy. They have completely ousted that guy because he was talking tough about the government shutdown and saying that he will not fold and blah, 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 blah. Ended up folding. I don't know what President Trump said to that guy to make him fold and vote to keep the government open. I don't know what was I don't know what was said, but the guy folded. Now look what's happening to him. He's nowhere now. I have not seen one thing from that guy since the government, stayed open. I haven't seen one thing from that guy. He's been ousted by the Democratic Party. They were talking about AOC taking his seat. The guy's been ousted. Why? That's why they won't come out against this violence, because they are scared to death of losing their power. Again, prime example is Chuck Schumer, old Chucky. Not a peep from that guy since the government stayed open. It's been a little while now, right? A month or so, I think, since that happened. But, like I said, they are scared to death of losing their power. That's why they won't come out. That's why they won't say anything. Anyway, Jasmine Crockett. Now, this is just I'm sure everybody remembers this, but just in case there was any kind of this is the video that went viral about her calling for people to come out against Elon to take him down. That she says it's not a call to violence, and she says, I've always told my people, my constituents, to consult their lawyers and protest peacefully and blah blah blah. But she knows, we all know what this means. Anyway, just for a quick reminder, this is what she said.
I'll make sure that I keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with, on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes, I'll make sure.
There you have it. Yeah, it wasn't her outright coming out and saying, but we all know what that meant. And she came out later and said, that's not what she was meaning and blah, 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 blah. But we all know. We all know. Anyway, yesterday was Liberation Day. I didn't cover it yesterday because I do my show early in the morning. But we're going to cover just a little bit of it here at the back end of the show here. And the tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs have taken place. President Trump has come out. These are just some of the stuff that, the U.S. has been taken advantage of by every single country around the world. And President Trump has come out and said, look, we're going to have reciprocal tariffs. Whatever they charge us, we're going to charge them. The Democrats, they want fair and free trade. Doesn't this make it fair? That's a question that I pose to any Democrat left-leaning person. Doesn't the tariffs? Now, I'm not a huge, I don't know everything about tariffs. I'm not literate enough, but I can understand just enough to think that maybe this does actually enact fair trade. Doesn't it? If you have a reciprocal tariff on a country, like the top one here is China, 67%. Let me see if I can get that a little bigger to read that small print here. Let's see. No, I can't get it. I don't know what it says there in the small print. I can't read that. Including something or other. USA discounted reciprocal tariffs, 34%. Look, China's charging 67% on the US. And we only charge 34%. This is a big chart. I mean, President Trump brought this out. I don't know why my screen's going blurry now and then, but I apologize for that. I'll try and fix that. But Thailand, Switzerland, Indonesia, look at all these. This is insane. How much they charge us and then how much we charge them. Look, Brazil's actually 10% and 10%. That's good. Chile, Australia, looks about the same. Turkey's 10%, Colombia 10%. That's good. Look, if we're charging them the same thing, that in my opinion, how I see it, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But if we're charging them the same tariff that they're charging us, wouldn't that be fair trade? Am I wrong? Tell me, let me know. Fair trade. Look, if they're going to charge us, we charge them the same thing. That's fair, right? Isn't it fair? Again, correct me if I'm wrong. We'll take a look at this. Is President Trump had come out and talked about it. We'll take a look at what he said here real quick.
So, if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So
Okay,
how can
so-
anybody be upset?
Okay, so we're not even charging them the same amount. Am I wrong? Is that that's what I got from that? I haven't seen this video in its full context just yet. So I'm watching it for the first time with you. So I think that's what I got from that is he's not even a charge. This is what we're going to charge them actually at a discounted rate. So it's not actually equal across the board. They're still making more money off of us. Am I wrong? I think that's what I got from that, but let's keep looking.
They will be because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them.
90%.
The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff.
Isn't that a big difference? I mean, just think about this. They're charging us 90% tariffs, and we're only going to charge them 46. That's, again, it's not even fair. I mean, they're still charging 90%. We're only going to charge 46. I don't know. I was wrong about this. I thought that this was going to be fair, and the reciprocal tariffs were going to be exactly what they were charging us. I was wrong. I'll admit when I am. Let's keep going.
Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that.
And that's a
But
big
64%, we're going to charge them
coming
32%. Japan, very, very tough. Great people.
Was Taiwan the chip thing? I think it was I want to say it was like $500 billion, something like that. I don't know the exact dollar amount, but it was a big contract where they're going to build a company within the United States and make chips. That's good for the U.S. It opens up jobs within the United States, and we can get, chips from here at home. Apple said that they're going to build a factory here in the United States. So you got Apple plus chips coming in here. Look, the iPhone that everybody loves so much. I'm not a fan of Apple. Personal preference. I have Android. But if you like Apple, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But a lot of people like Apple. I'm not a fan. But most people, I think the majority, I think it's a majority of people actually use iPhones. Now it's going to be made here in the United States. Opens up jobs. American made. I'm all for it. Anyway, let's keep
And
going.
again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose. Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, little items like cars. 46%,
Little
we're
items.
charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades, and it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China and charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs, and they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand, and the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe.
Guy rambles
But they
a lot.
all understand. They're ripping us
I'll
off, and
say
they
it.
understood it.
Guy talks a little
Prime
too much.
Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was unfortunately taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. A trade is not fair. And he said, I know that. I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man, but he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal, but frankly, there were many years left on the deal that was made previous to my getting there, but it was something. If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America. United Kingdom, 10%.
Okay, maybe I've been completely wrong on this all. Is what? Let me take a look at this. Let me go back to the other one here. So, if I've got this, I'm still trying to figure this out too. But as far as this tariffs, now, is what he's saying now, is this what the 34%, say like China, 67% down to 34%? Is that what they're going to be charging us now? Is that what he's saying? I think that's what I got there at the end of it. But either way that it goes, I'm fine with any way. I mean, like I said, if China's charging us 67% and President Trump's got it down to 34%, I'm good with that. That's less money going out. And if it's the other way, 67%, we're giving them a discount of 34%. I mean, it's still not good, but again, I'm not a huge proponent expert on tariffs, but from the way I understand it, from what he said, is that China, instead of 67%, they're going to be, reciprocal tariffs 34%. That's pretty good in my opinion. If that's the case and he's getting it down to 34%. Look, I'm going to look more into to these tariffs. Cuz like I said, I'm not an expert. I don't know for sure. But I'm pretty sure that's what he was saying. Again, I could be wrong. I'm going to look into it because if I'm going to cover it, I need to know exactly what's going on, honestly. But I'll take a look into it and I'll try to get a better grip of and understanding of how these actually work. It's I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just not that bright. But I think from what he was saying is that it's going to come down to 34%. So, anyway, there you go. That's all I've got for this morning. I got to get to work. So if I appreciate you hanging out. Even if that last little bit about the tariffs was little iffy from me, but I apologize for that. But I'll get better. Again, I appreciate you hanging out. I am live here every single morning from 7:30 Eastern to roughly about 8:30. So I appreciate you hanging out again. You can follow me here on Rumble. You can follow me on X at The Political Ray. You can also go to YouTube and subscribe to me there, but Rumble's the place to be. So just check us out there. And again, I appreciate everybody hanging out. And I hope y'all have a great day and take care of each other. God bless.